Hi, my name's John Cooper. I'm the minister at Centrefield Anglican Church. Today I'm going to be presenting the first talk in a snapshot of the Christian faith. Have you ever found yourself trying to solve a problem when you don't know what's wrong? I've got a mate who's a mechanic and he tells me all the time that people come in and they've got the solution, but they don't really know what's wrong with the car, and it's not until he has a look at it that he realizes that it's actually some different problem that they think he should be fixing. I think a lot of people approach the Christian faith in that way. They think they know what Christianity is trying to do, but they get it wrong because they don't know where the real problem is. Today we're going to be thinking about where our problem lies. But before we get to the problem, we need to begin at the very beginning. The Bible says that God created you and I. That means that we're not a fluke of nature. We're not here by some random product of chance. But God has made us with a very clear purpose in His mind. And that purpose is that we might live under His authority so that we can enjoy relationship with Him. The problem is that instead of relishing the opportunity to live in relationship with God, we've rebelled against our Creator, telling Him that we don't want Him to be at the center of our lives, but we want to be the ones that are in charge of what we do and how we do it. The Bible puts it like this: "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." Sin is not so much the bad things we do, like lying and cheating and stealing. It's that attitude inside of us that wants to take the place of God. It's when we say, "I want to do things my way without you. I don't want you to be involved in my life. I want to be in charge myself." Maybe an illustration might help at this point. Before we rebelled against God, God was in the driver's seat of our lives. He was behind the wheel. He was the one setting the direction and leading us on. But we pushed God out of the driver's seat and got behind the wheel ourselves. We relegated Him to the position of a backseat driver. I don't know what you're like if you've got any backseat drivers in your life. I know that when a backseat driver gets into my car, I get annoyed pretty quickly. Can you put the air conditioning on? Can you drive a bit faster? Can you slow down? Don't ride the clutch. It gets annoying very quickly. And what do you do to the backseat driver in your car? Do you snap at them and tell them to butt out? Or do you find the patient way of just tuning them out? The Bible says that whether we snap at God and tell Him to butt out of our lives, or whether we patiently tune Him out, all of us live in rebellion against our Creator. If we're honest, we'll admit that taking the wheel from God hasn't worked out too well for us. The Bible says the wages of sin is death. That's the problem that we find ourselves in. That because we've rebelled against the one who gave us life, now we get old and we die. Now we suffer tragedies and we have to face things like viruses. And not only does it bring death, but it destroys our relationship with God. It makes it harder to relate to each other. And it leaves us feeling anxious and afraid. When God was behind the wheel, there was nothing to worry about. But now we're behind the wheel. We're trying to manage things that are outside of our control. No wonder we feel stressed out. The Bible goes on to say that one day we must all face God for the way that we have lived. It says man is destined to die once, and after that face judgment. How do you feel about facing God for the way that you have treated Him? I remember one of my early jobs, I was put in charge of looking after a machine in a warehouse. And one day I made some mistakes. I wasn't taking particularly good care of this machine, and I did some damage to it. I was terrified at owning up and telling my boss what I had done, so I thought I'll try and fix this on my own. But as I tried again and again to fix this machine, I was just making the problem worse. I was only causing more damage to it. In the end, I had to face up to the fact that I couldn't fix it on my own, that I needed outside help, that I needed someone to come and rescue me from myself because I was only making matters worse. Well, I hope you can see that our rebellion against God puts us in exactly the same situation. That's the problem that we find ourselves in. Our rebellion against God has brought death and judgment. What we need more than anything else is to be rescued. To think that we can somehow get ourselves out of this mess, we can dig ourselves out of the hole that we've dug ourselves into by living a better life or making better choices, that's to fail to appreciate the damage that has been done. We are under the sentence of death. We are facing the prospect of judgment. Anything else is just a band-aid measure. It can't really get to the heart of solving our problem. We need to be rescued. The thing that makes Christianity such good news, in fact the best news of all, is that God is a God who rushes to the rescue. He races to our aid in the person of his Son, Jesus Christ, to rescue us from death and judgment, so we don't have to face up for the way that we have treated him. That's what makes Christianity such good news, that God has come to do something about our problem of rebellion in his Son, Jesus. In our next talk, David is going to be sharing with us about this rescue. Please check it out for yourselves.